Square Enix for providing me the game to make this review possible.
SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered is the latest entry into the franchise to get remastered, and it is developed and published by Square Enix. With the remastering of SaGa Frontier being a success, alongside successes like SaGa Emerald Beyond, Square has decided, you know what, let's give one of our more unique SaGa games its time to shine. But was it a wise decision to keep the remaster train going, or should that train have been left at the station? Only one way to find out, so let's go! Gameplay. For the past few years, not only has there been a resurgence of classic titles coming back in the way of remasters such as Klonoa, Tomb Raider, Power Rangers, Mana series, Pac-Man, Koa, House of the Dead, but also a big comeback for the RPG genre, with juggernauts like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Atelier Yumiya, Fantasian, Dragon Quest, Paper Mario, etc. You get the point. There's been a lot of comebacks and additions, and now SaGa Frontier 2 is just the latest to join the mix of remasters and hoping to join the category of one of the greats when it's all said and done with. And there's hope that it just might be, due to the fact that we previously saw how well the remaster for the original SaGa Frontier came out, and to our surprise, it was fantastic. Which of course it's only fitting since I reviewed the previous entry, I should now tackle this new entry as well, and hoping that it gives the same levels of satisfaction. Getting into my nostalgia-fueled mug dance, hoping to rekindle my past memories of playing this game on the original PlayStation, I keep in mind that the era in which this was released was already filled with games that stood the test of time, with games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VII, Legend of Mana, and many more, with SaGa Frontier 2 leaning more into the Mana side of things if we're going to try to throw out a small comparison for the sake of doing so, that intrigues you into its mystery by offering you a friendly flower from Aeris Flower Basket, only without her price gouging.
Here, this is for you.
How much?
Well, that depends on the customer. In your case...
$599 US.
And in this rare case where SaGa Frontier 2 takes what works from its previous entry and attempts to give you a nice leisurely stroll through this new land and new companions. Much like how I felt playing SaGa Frontier the first time, you learn quick that to truly be able to get advantage in battle is to focus on grinding out some levels early on in order to give yourself a strategic advantage due to Cordelia and Company's weapon and magic levels carrying over to later party members that come into the mix. It's a very unique and smart move that allows you to be able to obtain more weapons, various custom gear, and gives you the ability to try to max out stats with specific characters not only quicker, but in a more efficient manner. Thankfully, it's not as tedious as having to fight frogs at Gold Saucer for over an hour because the damn thing just won't stop using frog jab on you and turning you into a frog. Dang it, you stupid frogs! Just let me get the freaking limit break! In this entry, you can pick to play through Classic Mode, which leaves the game intact to the memories of old that you're used to, or take on an updated path that brings new and fresh events and even new party members. Of course, since this is a remastered version, I went with new because as much as I love the vanilla original, I need to see what new content awaits me and hopefully ends up being worth playing, unlike content found in Forspoken. Barry Forspoken? Yeah, okay, that is something I do now. Random stray dig at Forspoken aside, the game offers more than just extra nuggets of quests and new characters. Combat still remains turn-based like you remember it, and also maintaining the bit of strategy that you need in order to survive as you try to juggle between LP, WP, and SP-related arts in order to avoid getting stumped into oblivion like your Leroy Jenkins in World of Warcraft. Depending on the decisions you make in battle will determine your fun factor and how your level of enjoyment has had. Such as, for example, if you focus too much on spamming your WP and burning through it too fast of a pace because you want to get a battle over with quickly, well, if you're doing that, you're going to end up getting your ass handed to you, especially towards the latter half of the game or by the end of the game content. Patience and thinking about your next move a la a strategy game like Final Fantasy Tactics is the best mindset to get into when playing this game. Sure, it might not be the same gameplay mechanics, but mentally it's pretty much the same. I learned this lesson during the last SaGa Frontier Remastered title and got a little too brave and just attacked anything and everything with my Cartman-like attitude of whatever, I do what I want. But if you're a lover of more modern RPGs, mainly action RPGs, and don't really vibe with the slower-paced combat system of turn-based, you might be a little bit turned off from the game. But luckily, much like Square's Steam releases of Final Fantasy, in SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered, you have the option to speed up the combat speed to make things a tad bit faster. Sure, it's still not action-based, but being like a kid and having a hyper crash out from too much sugar, you will be able to attack more often and engage and beat certain foes that may take 30 minutes or so with regular speed combat and decrease that from anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes or less, depending on how well you use your abilities, arts, and combat techniques. So not all is lost, people. Definitely not as lost mentally as Liza in SaGa Frontier 1, otherwise we would have some issues. Some very major issues.
Rin, we were planning on having our wedding in a small chapel. Amelia, you're thinking of Rin, aren't you?
Wait, what? No crap! Of course I'm thinking about Rin. I literally just said it out loud. Lisa, come on, girl. Get with the program, or I'm going to have to swap you out for another character.
Just focus on obtaining more arts for everyone and you'll avoid that type of mental fatigue. Okay, great. Focusing for the most part around two central characters with Gustav, who is the heir of a royal family, but bro sucks at being able to cast spells, like my driving in video games. And then there's William Knights, who is your typical fledgling adventurer, and it is your choice whether to pick to explore two separate narratives as they both progress simultaneously, with intersection between them landing here and there every now and then, with the story trying to tie many of the game's mysteries together based off of both of their story perspectives. This system is known as the event-based system, where it tells your narrative structure and gives you the option to choose the order in which you play through the historical events of the game, which in turn gives you a unique perspective to experience story scenarios from multiple perspectives based off of two different story arcs, and how they come together to form a much larger and unified story. To all of our delight, it manages to do this without stupid Force Ghost used in Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. I hate those damn things! Set in the land of Sandal, which as stated before, the game lets you hop timelines via the tale of the story that's unfolding, once again letting you pick the event order. However, while on the surface this is a very cool thing that keeps the game flowing at a great pace that never bores you, it does leave you with a negative or two. Such as should you pick one specific story arc over another, you will most definitely miss out on some rare loot that can only be obtained in one character path, while on the other hand you can miss out on crucial details regarding Gustav's narrative should you pick the wrong time to play another scenario. Yeah, that sounds annoying, sure, but that's what multiple playthroughs are for, and the developers are hoping for you to do just that, so that you can experience everything that this game has to offer you. The game's UI has also been given the remaster treatment, offering better looking, more sleek menu design that not only makes things easier to follow and give you an event tracker, but also isn't as cumbersome and confusing as the days of PlayStation 1's menu that made your experience more frustration or annoyance than was really necessary. It still helps immensely when trying to navigate through this puzzle-centric story, one that makes you connect the dots as you go in order to keep yourself immersed. So thank you, Quality of Life Edition. I now won't have to take a bottle of Advil just to play the game. You the real MVP. Overall, at the end of the day, SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered stays true to all the things that made the original so captivating and memorable. Sure, there are frame rate dips here and there and chances of missing out on story beats or specific loot, but with extra content to play, improved graphics, engaging and fun combat, and a great story arc, it's hard not to recommend this to not only longtime SaGa fans, but also RPG fans in general. You won't be disappointed. So with all that having been said, my verdict is clear. Game and Chick says bye now.